The Scarab Amulet, an artifact rooted in ancient Egyptian culture, holds a rich historical and cultural significance that transcends time. At its core, the Scarab Amulet is a small object shaped like the dung beetle Scarabaeus sacer, symbolizing life, renewal, and protection. This symbolism arises from the beetle's habit of rolling dung into balls and burying them, which the Egyptians associated with the sun god Ra's journey across the sky, and later with the cycle of life and death. The Scarab Amulet was believed to possess protective properties, providing both spiritual and physical safeguarding to its wearer. This historical understanding is crucial when exploring whether these amulets were solely protective charms or held a more sinister purpose, such as mind control. The significance of the Scarab Amulet in relation to this topic lies in its dual nature. While predominantly seen as a protective charm, tales and theories of its potential use in mind control offer a tantalizing contrast. For instance, the heart scarab, used in burial practices, was believed to protect the heart from giving away the deceased's sins during their final judgment. This protective aspect is an essential foundation for understanding its historical use. However, speculative modern interpretations suggest that the amulet might have been employed for more manipulative purposes, resonating with contemporary fears of control and influence. Real-world applications of the Scarab Amulet's protective nature include its use by ancient Egyptians, who wore them for good luck and protection against evil. Archaeological discoveries, such as the amulets found in Tutankhamun's tomb, underscore their widespread use and deep-rooted cultural importance. Additionally, in modern times, the amulet has been adopted by various New Age spiritual practices as a symbol of transformation and protection, reflecting its enduring legacy. Opinions diverge on the amulet's potential use as a mind control device. Some theorists speculate that its integration into religious paraphernalia allowed the elite to exert influence over the masses through the power of belief. However, there is scant historical evidence supporting this notion, leading to skepticism among historians. Challenges to the amulet's interpretation arise from its dual symbolism. While scientific research has yet to substantiate claims of mind-altering properties, the lack of unequivocal evidence fosters debate. This dichotomy between protection and control parallels broader discussions on the power of belief and symbolism in ancient cultures. Ultimately, the historical and cultural significance of the Scarab Amulet serves as a critical touchstone in assessing its true purpose. This exploration bridges the gap between past and present, intertwining ancient beliefs with modern interpretations and enriching our understanding of the amulet's role in both protecting and potentially influencing human consciousness. In exploring the symbolism and beliefs surrounding the Scarab Amulet as a protective charm, one must delve into its ancient roots and enduring cultural significance. The scarab beetle, particularly revered in ancient Egyptian culture, symbolized transformation, renewal, and protection. As a protective charm, the Scarab Amulet was believed to safeguard the wearer from evil and misfortune, embodying the life-giving power of the suns and the promise of rebirth. This symbolism is rooted in the beetle's natural behavior of rolling dung balls, an act the Egyptians linked to the sun's daily journey across the sky. The significance of the scarab as a protective charm is closely tied to the broader topic of its true purpose. Whether it served primarily as a talisman for protection or held more sinister implications, such as mind control, recognizing its protective attributes allows us to appreciate the amulet's more benevolent roles in history. To illustrate, consider the widespread use of scarab amulets in burial practices in ancient Egypt. These amulets were often placed over the heart of the deceased, inscribed with spells to ensure safe passage into the afterlife. Such practices underscore the amulet's protective connotations and its importance in spiritual and cultural rituals. Another instance is the modern fascination with Egyptian-themed jewelry, where scarab motifs are frequently used as symbols of good luck and protection against negative energies, reflecting their enduring legacy. Supporters of the protective symbolism highlight the amulet's long-standing role in warding off evil, with many believing that its powers are activated through the intent and belief of the wearer. However, there are alternative viewpoints that challenge this benign interpretation. Some suggest that the scarab's use in ancient rituals could have been part of a more complex system of psychological influence or control, due to its association with powerful deities and the afterlife. This dichotomy between protective charm and potential instrument of control adds depth to the ongoing debate about the scarab's true purpose. The connection between the scarab's protective symbolism and the broader question of mind control is intriguing. While the charm aspect highlights hope and safety, the potential for control suggests a manipulation of belief systems, where the wearer's perception of safety might be leveraged to influence behavior. Understanding the protective symbolism of the Scarab amulet thus enriches the discussion on its multifaceted role in history and its impact on cultural and spiritual practices, bridging the past and present interpretations of this enigmatic artifact. The heading Ancient Texts and Archaeological Evidence delves into the exploration of historical records and physical artifacts to decipher the true purpose of the Scarab amulet, whether as a protective charm or a device for mind control. The concept involves scrutinizing ancient Egyptian texts, tomb inscriptions, and archaeological findings to reveal insights about the Scarab amulet's role in ancient societies. These resources are significant as they provide primary evidence of how these amulets were used and understood by the people who created and relied on them. Ancient texts, such as the Egyptian Book of the Dead, often depict the scarab as a symbol of rebirth and protection. This lends weight to the argument that the Scarab amulet was primarily a protective charm. Scarabs inscribed with prayers or the names of gods were believed to ward off evil and ensure safe passage to the afterlife. An example of this can be seen in the tomb of Tutankhamun, where scarabs were placed to protect the young pharaoh in the afterlife. On the other hand, some interpretations suggest that the intricate inscriptions and patterns on scarabs could have been intended to exert influence over wearers or others, akin to primitive forms of mind control. The notion of mind control isn't widely supported in mainstream archaeology, but some fringe theories propose that such artifacts were designed to channel or focus psychic energies. Opinions supporting the protective charm theory are abundant. For instance, Egyptologist Zahi Hawass has noted the prevalence of scarabs in burial sites, emphasizing their role as spiritual guardians rather than tools of manipulation. Conversely, alternative viewpoints suggest that the symbolism and rituals surrounding the scarab indicate a deeper psychological influence, possibly extending to mind control. The potential challenges in this discourse include the lack of conclusive evidence for mind control purposes. Additionally, the interpretation of ancient symbols is inherently subjective, with meanings possibly shifting over millennia. There also exists a controversy among scholars about projecting modern concepts, like mind control, onto ancient artifacts without sufficient historical corroboration. This point ties into the broader discussion by questioning the functionality of amulets beyond the obvious religious or spiritual significance. Whether as protective emblems or supposed mind-controlling devices, understanding their purpose enhances our grasp of ancient cultures and their belief systems, potentially influencing modern perceptions of historical artifacts and their roles in societal rituals. The concept of the mind control hypothesis, when discussing the Scarab amulet, revolves around the intriguing notion that these ancient Egyptian artifacts were not merely protective charms, but could also have been tools for influencing thought and behavior. This hypothesis suggests that the Scarab amulet, often found in tombs and worn as jewelry, might have been imbued with abilities beyond mere protection. While traditionally seen as symbols of rebirth and protection against evil, this theory posits a more sinister or complex purpose, potentially reflecting the ancients' understanding or experimentation with influencing consciousness. The significance of exploring this hypothesis ties directly to the broader debate on the true purpose of the Scarab amulet. By questioning whether these amulets served as instruments of mind control, we delve deeper into understanding ancient Egyptian society, their beliefs, and their technological prowess. This point forces us to reconsider how advanced their knowledge might have been and whether they could manipulate human consciousness in ways that echo modern concerns about mind control technologies. One real-world example that echoes this hypothesis is the practice of using talismans or amulets for behavioral influence in various cultures. In some traditions, such items are believed to alter the wearer's thoughts or actions through spiritual or mystical means. Similarly, modern-day concerns about mind control, such as subliminal messaging in advertising or psychological manipulation techniques, illustrate the enduring human fascination and fear of mind control. Supporters of this idea might argue that ancient civilizations had access to forms of knowledge or techniques that enabled subtle yet powerful influences over individuals. Some propose that the ancients possessed esoteric skills lost to time, which allowed them to embed more than just spiritual protection into their artifacts. However, the mind control hypothesis also faces significant challenges and controversies. Critics argue that there is scant empirical evidence to support such claims, and that the notion may stem from a misunderstanding or romanticized view of ancient Egypt. Skeptics suggest that attributing such capabilities to the Scarab amulet diminishes its cultural and historical importance as a symbol of life and protection. This exploration of mind control connects to the main topic by forcing a re-evaluation of the Scarab amulet's role in ancient society, prompting questions about the interplay between symbolism, belief, and function. It adds depth to the conversation about whether these amulets were simple protective charms or if they indeed held more sophisticated, perhaps even manipulative purposes.